was like so many others. I grew up in South Africa with great parents, great family, wonderful people around me. We were going to church as a family. I was going to children's church, and growing up in that environment, I had everything I needed to do well in life. Everything I needed to become a good Christian. And at a certain point for me, it was a struggle, because I had all the friends I had around me that were doing their thing, coming from very different backgrounds. And along the way, more due to peer pressure, more due to just wanting to please my friends, I ended up getting into smoking cigarettes, drinking alcohol, getting drunk, going to parties, getting involved with girls. But that was at that stage just where I was. But further on, we also went through some very difficult times as a family, where we were very poor, went through some difficult times, to a point where we hardly had enough money for food. Had been evicted from the apartment that we were living in. We had actually moved from South Africa to Los Angeles at that time. So we'd been evicted, and we were so grateful that a family in the church where we were attending at that time gave us, in their backyard, gave us a caravan or a trailer to stay in. And it was a difficult time. It was a dark time. There was, of course, the aspect of not having much, but also there were many other situations that I had to face as a young person. I was 14 years old, struggling with myself, struggling with my place in the world, struggling with reality. I didn't know what was going on. And it was about at that time where depression really started to take a hold of me. And I struggled with depression from that point on, and moving forward, as I grew up and we came out of that situation, which was just an external situation, but coming out of that, I realized that there were many struggles that we can have in this world. And all of a sudden, I needed to find a solution. And at that point, Jesus was not a solution for me. God was not the way out, because I'd been so disillusioned by many things I had seen and experienced. And so rather than turning to perhaps what I would now consider the right place to turn to, I became an alcoholic. I got into drugs, and my life took a complete different turn. At a certain point, I even had to leave and went back to South Africa. And going back to South Africa, at that place, I just went back to all the same things. I found a friend who was into the same drugs, the same issues, and all sorts. And I got even deeper. And my life was out of control. And all of those external things, the drugs, the alcohol, were only just a bandage on a deep wound. It was only something to try and help me from the deep pain that I was feeling, the deep depression that I was going through, because I just could not cope with life. And it was unbelievable, because that same friend that I used to hang out with, that was moving around with drug cartels, people selling drugs in higher quantities, that same person was invited to church, and he gave his life to Jesus, was born again. He invited me to come to church with him, and I was so blown away by how his life had changed that I thought, I have to go and I have to see what it's all about. I knew religion in the past. I knew what Christianity was all about, and I'd had enough of it. But when I saw him and I saw the change in his life, I realized God had something for me, and I wanted to see and discover for myself. And so I went, and truly I met with Jesus. I met with God, and I saw the reality of a changed life and what it is to truly know God. And so when I see all that God has done in my life, I'm willing to share with you and anybody else that is willing to listen, to know that if Jesus can change me, he can change anybody.